Okay, my name is Silas, and this is starting a food truck in Austin, Texas, week 0. So, I'm a personal trainer here in Austin, and I have no experience operating or owning a food business. But I'm starting a food truck um, here at the independent local gym that I run my personal training business out of. So, and I'm going to be taking you along on the journey, posting live updates for YouTube and Instagram because I'm hoping to that hopefully you'll be able to either draw inspiration and or learn from my experience. So I'll start with a really quick background about me. I'm originally from Oregon. I moved to Austin, Texas to go to law school at UT Law School. Uh, did a year and a half of law school, 3 semesters out of 6, and realized that the kind of work I wanted to get into, which was criminal defense, wasn't actually for me. Realized the other options that I was aware of weren't a good fit either. And so I decided to go on leave from law school. And shortly after that, I started personal training full time. Um, and then I worked in software sales briefly. And then I started my own personal training business out of a gym called LiftATX here in East Austin. Um, so this is where the story picks up. So last summer, I was working as a personal trainer at LiftATX, and I don't remember exactly how the idea came to me, but it was a hot summer day in Austin. It's often over 100 degrees in the peak of the day here in the summer. And LiftATX, one of the cool things about it is it's a half outdoor, half indoor gym, and there's no AC, so it's very hot. And the parking lot was full as it usually is during the summer, and I just had this idea. Other gyms, maybe I was thinking of the UT Rec Center, for example, have smoothie or milkshake bars in the gym. You know, protein smoothies or milkshakes that you can grab right after your workout. And I was thinking, Lyft ATX is so busy. We have a ton of members, sell a ton of day passes on the weekends, and it's so hot that like what a great value it would be to the community if people could buy a nice cold refreshing beverage that fits their macros, fits their training goals as they enter or exit the gym. And so I had this idea, mentioned it to a couple friends. I don't know how much time passed, but I decided to bring it up to the owner of the gym. And had a quick conversation with him about it. He was receptive. He said he would be supportive, but there were some obstacles that would prevent us for the time being from being able to pursue this. Won't go into detail on that, but so things just stalled out there, and I kept just working on my personal training business. And about 6 months later or so, at the end of last year, 2026, those situations resolved themselves and the opportunity presented itself. So I spoke to the owner of LiftATX again. He said, let's do it, gave me the go ahead, and I've been rolling ever since. So, so in this video, I'm going to summarize what the work that I've done is so far to plan this business, because going forward, I'm going to start posting weekly updates on YouTube and daily updates on Instagram. So, let's get into it. So, at the very beginning, the first thing I started thinking about, first of all, first thing I started thinking about was, obviously, is this a good idea? And I came to the conclusion that it was because of what I mentioned already, the volume of members, the temperature. Another thing is the local neighborhood, the competitive environment. So I did some quick research on competition. There are some competitors somewhat nearby, but not really that close by. You definitely have to go out of your way to go get a smoothie, a nutritious smoothie after your workout at LiftATX. So, and the other thing is the neighborhood is currently undergoing gentrification, and it's kind of a food desert for healthy food in general. So I thought, no smoothie options nearby, not really a lot of healthy food in general nearby. So that was a good sign for the opportunity. And then, the other thing was, okay, I have a good relationship with the owner of the gym. He's supporting me in this. I have a good relationship with so many members. I know the members well. I understand what they like, I think, and And same thing with the staff. And so I'm like, okay, this is a good position to work from. And yeah, so, and then the other thing was, as a personal trainer and a nutrition coach myself, I have a pretty good understanding of what pre or post workout nutrition should entail, and what serious athletes that there are many serious athletes that train at LiftATX, whether they're serious about competing or just serious about their lifestyle, what they want. And so I'm excited to be able to provide a gym smoothie bar basically that is more specific and just a better fit for people like bodybuilders, powerlifters, high rocks athletes, runners that train at LiftATX, and people that are just training for health and longevity, than your average smoothie bar. So we're gonna have like, supplement add-ons that I'm not aware of any smoothie bar in a gym or not offering. Basic ones, obviously, like extra protein powder, creatine, but then more niche supplements as well, optional add-ons. One, for example, is just the option to add caffeine to basically any beverage that you order. So anyways, first thing I did was look at competition. That looked good, so I moved forward. And the next thing I was thinking about was funding. I thought about the startup costs and how much I could contribute, and I decided that I could probably contribute about a quarter of the total that I'd need from my savings. And I thought about where I could potentially get the rest, and decided that I was confident that I could fund this project. So with that out of the way, continued moving forward. And in order to fund it, I would need a business plan. So I started drafting my business plan in January and late January. And it's taken quite a while. Just a couple weeks ago, I've made a revision, and I'm at a place where it's close to a final draft. A business plan is never really a final draft, and I already have in mind a couple adjustments that I need to make. But the business plan is ready to pitch to investors. So after, or really while I was working on the business plan, I started thinking about my menu concept. I kind of touched on this already. I really want it to be like performance nutrition in a delicious, refreshing form. So I'm going to organize the menu around basically benefits that gym members and local fitness enthusiasts in the surrounding neighborhood would want to get from protein smoothies. So I started thinking about this. I've been iterating on the menu concept since then, and again, I'm currently pretty close to what I think the menu will open with is. I'm sure it'll change a little bit. I'm going to be really seeking feedback from members of the gym and members of the local community, and making some adjustments before we open. And I have a ton of menu drafting and taste testing to still do. But that was one of the first things I started thinking about, menu concept. And then another one early on I had to consider is, where am I going to get the physical trailer itself? And this took a lot more research and analysis than I initially thought. There's a lot of options around here, and but honestly, not many of them seem like good options for my particular situation. So ultimately, it took quite a while, but I settled on a company called Texas Built Food Trailers. And so I put my down payment down a couple weeks ago, and they're currently building the custom 14-foot concession trailer. So looking forward to hopefully picking that up in a week to a week and a half. That will be very exciting, especially because I need the trailer in order to apply for my permit, my mobile food vendor permit here in Austin. So trailer, another early planning item. At around the same time, when I finished my first draft of the business plan, I started working on a branding and marketing plan. This was a really rough draft, still is a really rough draft, just kind of brainstorming the aesthetic, the values, etc. of the brand. And today I'm actually meeting with a marketing consultant who will hopefully be able to help me put the finishing touches on the branding plan. And so after all this, I eventually filed to form my LLC. I formed one LLC in the past for my personal training business. So the first time around, it was actually pretty confusing. Had a couple speed bumps. This time around was pretty quick and easy. And once I formed my LLC, then I was able to open a bank account and apply for credit cards. So now I have a business bank account, and I have a couple of credit cards. I'll go into more detail on this stuff, but the first credit card I applied for, and again, this is based on experience from my personal training company, is the Amex Gold Card. And that's partly because when I applied for it for my personal training company, this is amazing. It's an online application, instantly approved, and they actually gave me a temporary card number instantaneously. So I was able to put purchases on the card literally immediately. Crazy. Interestingly enough, that actually didn't happen this time. I applied for the same card. I don't know, it must be something with their algorithm, but they didn't give me instant access to the card this time. I had to wait for it to arrive in the mail. Anyways, bank account, credit cards secured. Shortly after that, I applied for my EIN, my employer identification number. You need this if you are going to have employees. You get it from the IRS. It's free, but you have to apply. And then I applied for my Texas sales and use tax permit, which comes with a Texas taxpayer number. So those are a couple other admin items that you do after you form your LLC. And then I signed up for my food manager certification exam with ServSafe and studied for that, took the exam, passed it, so I have my food manager certification. The reason I prioritize this is because you need your food manager certification in Austin and likely most places to apply for your mobile food vendor permit, your food truck permit. And I was hoping to have already applied for that by now. Unfortunately, I also need the VIN and license plate for my trailer, so I haven't applied for that yet. But that's why I got the food manager cert out of the way early. And my builder will be sending me that information any day now, and I'm very excited to be able to apply for my mobile food vendor permit in the coming days. So after the food manager cert, shortly after that, I started drafting and testing recipes. I've done like 3 separate occasions of testing recipes so far. First one was kind of in the wrong direction. Next couple were productive, but I've only tested 3 recipes out of like, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 9 that I'll open with. So there's lots of work to be done there. And after I'm happy with them, I'm gonna get as many other people as I can to taste test. So if you're in the area, you want to taste test, please let me know. And then that more or less brings us to the present moment. Today is March 1st. It won't be March 1st when you're watching this. But yeah, that brings us to today. I'm sure I'm missing some details. I'm gonna go back in future videos. I'm gonna dive deeper into probably every topic on this list to see if I can provide more details that will help anybody that wants to do something similar that might be watching this. But yeah, basically my plan going forward for this channel, for this series, is to do those recaps, deeper dives into what I've already done, but even more importantly, provide weekly updates on what I'm currently doing in the moment, the problems that I'm facing, the successes, and all the details that I can provide. So just for a little sneak peek, here are some items for my upcoming week that are priorities. Gonna apply for my mobile food vendor permit when I get that information from my builder. I need to order my freezer, and I'm drafting several different research documents, basically like researching something that I need to do and making an initial plan so that when it's time to actually do that, have a plan. So for example, insurance. Need to research my options for insurance. Gonna write a quick document about that. Another example is sourcing my ingredients, my supplements, and some equipment that I still have to buy. Gonna do research and make a document for that. And like I said, I'm meeting with a marketing consultant today. Very excited because she's a pretty long time member of the gym, so she has super valuable insight from that perspective. Yeah, so I will see you all in future videos. And if you're watching this, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me.